Okay, so uh, this is a fairly complicated task. There are several steps in the checklist. Um, Drafting the Craigslist ad, and then we select a photographer, and then we send the photographer the information. And then once we get the information back, or get the pictures and video clips back from the photographer, you'll need to notify me to have me pay the photographer. So here are the basic steps. So the first one is to go into Craigslist. We might also use Facebook to find photographers, but for now, Craigslist seems to be the quickest way. So what we'll do is create a posting, and in order to do that, we want to make sure we're logged in. So it should ask us to log in. Uh, no, okay, so we need to log in. So click on My Account, or if you go back and you click Create a Posting, make sure you're logged into the right account. So up here, you can click Login. And you'll want to be logged into purchasing@deedventures.com. And the reason for this is because that's where all of the emails will go. So we want the purchasing email address to receive all the emails from photographers, so that way the folks on the purchasing team at Deed Ventures will be able to coordinate with potential photographers. So from there, we'll click Login. Oh, well, okay. So Facebook is doing this probably because I am not in the US, and so they're requiring this. And this is why you want to use the purchasing link, because you can check your email in Bitrix. So purchasing at Deed Ventures, Craigslist. Okay, that's weird. Let's try this again. My account. Go to purchasing. And if you have multiple passwords, make sure the name and password are on purchasing. Okay, well, let's see, that didn't work. Um, okay, there we go. So, and this saves the hassle of, if you use one of the other email addresses, you might have to reach out to me and have me send you that link. This way, you don't have to do that. You'll get the email in the Bitrix inbox right away. So what we want to do is make this a gig that we're offering. Oh, and we'll also want to make sure we're in the right location. So um, if you go to US states and then select the state that the property is in. So let's say we were doing one in Texas, and then you'll want to select the city that's closest to that property. And if possible, use one of the bold cities. But if there isn't a bold city that's close, that's fine. Just use the closest other city. So in this case, we have a lot of properties that are around Houston, and one is kind of near San Antonio. So we'll do San Antonio, or a property in Kendall County, which is like about an hour and a half, 2 hours from San Antonio. And then we want to go down to gigs. We'll do a creative gig. Oops, I made a mistake. So once we're in, you'll see here it says sanantonio.craigslist.org. Then we create a posting. And then we want to do gig offered. And then I want to hire someone. And this is going to be a creative gig, which is photography. So in the link, or in this task, there's a link to the Craigslist photographer. So we'll just copy this as the title, and we'll make this bold so that we know it's the title. Okay, and then specific locations, we type in the address, Headwaters Ranch Road, Kendall, Texas. I don't remember what the zip code is for the property. Actually, you should, if possible, just try to find the property on Google Maps. So here we go. Google Maps, the property is up here on this road, it's like right here. So there is the zip code. So we'll copy this zip code and then we'll paste it into our Craigslist ad. I have too many Craigslist things open. And then for the posting body, we'll go back to the Craigslist photographer ad. This is the price, so we'll just copy all this. And we'll need to, once we paste it in, change the county and state, but we can do that here. So county is going to be Kendall County, Texas. Okay, I think I'm going to change the Google Docs so these are numbers instead, just so it's easier for people to read through this. Okay, so that's it. We paste that in. So there's the description of what to capture. And basically, so we want between 30 and 60 photos and video clips totaling 2 to 10 minutes. And this kind of describes the photos that we want to get of the property. We want to get roads that go to the property. We want any interesting features of the property like land formations, creeks, ponds, hills, ravines, things like that. Plants, giant trees or anything. Pictures of any neighboring properties that have like houses or trailers or junk. I'll put that in the doc as well. The views from the property, fencing, signs of animal life like animal tracks or things like that. Any visible utilities, power lines, telephone, gas lines, etc. Structures on the property and any problems like garbage or flooded areas or things that just don't look very good. Here we explain that our goal is to get shots to highlight the best attributes to sell the property. If if interested. So here's what we will provide. If we'll get emails to the purchasing at Deed Ventures email address from people that want to do this, and we will send. Once we get those emails, we will select one of them to be the photographer for the property, and to that one person, we will send the exact property coordinates and Google Map directions and the Google My Map of the property. So that way they know where to take the photos. And so we're giving them 10 days to complete this, and we'll send them payment after we receive everything. So down here, this is for pay. And we go back to the Craigslist ad and we copy this section, and I'll make it bold so you know that it doesn't belong in the listing. So we're saying $150 plus an additional $100 for HD drone footage. And then actually, you can include this in the text here as well. So paste it in, and I'll change the wording a little bit to say photographer, but would really love drone footage too. Would prefer. Okay. So I will add this here now so we don't forget. Okay. And so at this point, you just click. So we don't want to do, like, we don't want to be contacted by recruiters. We just want to use the Craigslist mail relay. We do not want to put our phone number in, because then we'll just start getting spam calls from people. And we do not want to show our address. So we'll continue. And here is where we will put the property. So we need to like zoom out. We'll need to find the property on the map. Oh man. $473. Okay, so 473 farm to market. I don't even know where they are. If I zoom out super far, yeah, the maps are not great on Craigslist. Comfort. Okay, so it's on this road across from Comfort. And of course, that road kind of disappears when I start zooming in. Okay, so there's farm to ranch, and here's where these two roads split, and I want to go up there. So it's up on this road, and it's like right here. Boom. So we want to to make sure our post is right there. You can also just type in the street address if we have a street address, but since a lot of our properties don't, I figured it'd be better to show you how to do this. And then continue. This way people will know, photographers will know where they need to go to take the picture, and if it's like too far out of their way, then they will have a better idea of how far away it is. Here you can either drop in a picture of the map or just click done. So if we wanted to, where did I have that? So you can put this in there so they have a decent idea of what the property is. And then do not click publish. At this point, you're done with this step. So this is a draft, and what will happen is I will publish this draft. And the reason for that is because they charge money, so I'll have to go in and pay the money to do this. So once the draft is created, then we're ready to go. You can check off the first checkbox of this draft, and you can, well, once you make the draft and notify me, and then I'll finalize the draft and pay. And then we'll get emails from photographers, and the photographers will, we'll select one of them. If you get an email from a photographer, I would say wait a day, and if no new photographers email within a day, then we might as well just go with the one that has responded. If we get multiple photographers, let me know and we can look at which one we think will do a better job. By default, we will choose the photographer that has a drone. So if there's a photographer that says they have a drone and they can get drone footage, and there's one that just does really good pictures, we'll go with the one that has the drone because that provides better shots to sell the property. Okay, so then once we select a photographer, we'll send them a link to the Craigslist template, and that way they'll be able to look at this and they'll see it in a more formatted version, and they'll be able to make they'll be able to know what pictures to capture, and they'll have this as a reference. And then the other thing to send them is a link to the property condition checklist, and there's a link to that in this task, and that's this document right here, which will be for them to fill out and will help us to understand what's going on the property, because I mean, we can only see satellite pictures and we don't know if there's if the property's been trashed and there's a lot of garbage on it. We don't know if there are good fences around the property or not. We don't necessarily know what kind of utilities there are nearby. So this will be for the photographer to print out and send back to us after they fill it out. And then the next step is this should all probably be done in one email. So include all these things in one email. And then the next thing to include is to send the property a link to the Google My Map. So at this point, we should have created a My Map for the property. We'll send them a link. And then finally, to send GPS coordinates and a link to the Google directions to the property. And these things, the My Map link and the directions to the property link, should be available if you click in the CRM and go to the property itself, and you find the property and click on the property. The links should be there. And if you can also find them in the commercial catalog. If they're not in the property listing yet, then they need to be created and those steps need to be done. It means we're behind on doing the due diligence for the property. So the photographer will need those in order to go out to the property to get the photos and video of it. So that's it. Hopefully, we find good photographers for our properties that take shots that really make people want to buy them. And one of the things that we have in the Craigslist posting is a reference to this Landio site because they tend to do a good job of getting photographers, even for boring properties. Like this one would probably be pretty boring. It's just pretty flat, but they get a photographer that does a good job. They take like a zoom in shot and they get good color exposure. So it makes the property look more exciting. And that in turn is going to get more people to be interested in buying the property. And that's what we want. We want to, I mean, the more people we have interested, the faster it'll sell. So we want these properties to sell quickly. That's our goal. So anyway, that's it for finding photographers. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks.